This video is sponsored by Normandy 1998, Ash, and Team Valor. We resume with May and Co as they arrive on Juford Island. For the most part, the events since her and Ash's Rustboro gym battle have been the same as canon, with them having a brief run-in with Team Aqua at the Devoncourt building, meeting Mr. Briny, and befriending a pot of Sharpedo, though now the pair are eager to have their second gym battle. Unfortunately, here two events mirror canon, with Ash losing summarily to Brawly after his Makuhito evolves into a Hariyama, resulting in the boy electing to take some time so that he can re-evaluate his training method. Reasoning that if Ash could not defeat Brawly, she has no chance, May decides to postpone her own match as well, joining her friend in training, and repaying him for his help in the lead up to her last gym battle by becoming his frequent sparring partner. This proves to be a great asset to Ash and his Pokemon, while also allowing May and her duo to grow stronger as well, making this a win-win. However, this is not the only consequence of the new arrangement, as through these matches a new rivalry is born between Trico and Marill, or rather, Marill develops one with Trico, as Wild has not stopped in its quest to assert its absolute dominance over all the Pokemon of the world through force and terror. This does not seem to affect the unflappable Woodgecko in the slightest, with it remaining as aloof as ever and refusing to buy into Marill's shtick. This naturally infuriates the little water type, though since it cannot take its anger out fully on a Pokemon who is resistant to its best moves, it instead seeks out other targets, with Torchic being its unfortunate favourite plaything. However, battling is not the only training Ash and May do. As per Brawly's advice, they also take time to commune with nature and find ways to train while also having fun. As a result of this, Ash still catches his Corphish, and Brock gets his Mudkip, though they are not the only ones, as while exploring Granite Cave, May manages to make a friend for herself too, an inquisitive little Aron who is quick to help her when she gets separated from her friends, following a scheme gone wrong by Team Rocket involving a poorly placed pit trap. Thanks to Aron and its knowledge of the cave system, he is able to guide May and Jessie without issue, allowing them to meet up with the others, as well as Steven Stone, who compliments Aron, calling it sensible and steadfast, which in his eyes are the marks of a true steel type. Such high praise from a trainer she's heard is powerful inspires May to catch Aron, with the Iron Armor Pokemon being happy to accept a place in the girls' team, thus bringing her up to 3. Following this and a bit more training, Ash and May at last feel as though they are ready to face Brawly, with the blue-haired gym leader directing them to join him in his private training ground, a cavern filled with volatile geysers, which he says adds to the challenge since you always got to be paying attention for when one of those gnarly spouts is about to burst. He then welcomes both Ash and May to step up, allowing them to choose who goes first. And knowing how much this rematch means to Ash, May agrees to sit out the first match. For the most part, this battle goes like canon, albeit slightly easier for Ash due to the added strength he's gained from having May as a proper rival and training partner, meaning that this time he is able to claim victory, and with it his knuckle badge. This just leaves May to face the gym leader now, and so after a brief intermission in which Brawly heals up his team, he welcomes the girl to take Ash's place in the challenges area and bring out her first Pokemon. Having heard from Max and Brock that Brawly's fighting types are weak to flying type moves, May chooses to open with Torchic, having used Peck right off the bat, in the hope that she can get a quick win. While these moves are effective against Machop, with Torchic peppering the pint-sized pugilist so it cannot employ its rolling strategy, this comes at a cost, or rather, 2. First, Torchic is being forced to expend a lot more energy than Machop by constantly being on the attack, and second, this style of attack puts the little fire type in close quarters combat range, which is where Machop shines. This becomes abundantly clear when Brawly orders a cross chop, with the superpower Pokemon bringing its 2 hands down hard on the fire chicken's shoulders, causing it to shriek in pain and back away. This gives Machop just the opening it needs to be in laying down karate chops, which slowly force Torchic back until it is finally standing on the edge of one of the geysers. Then, as if it had been planned, May and Torchic both feel the rumbling that signals an incoming watery eruption, with Machop seizing this opportunity to knock the fire type onto its back, thus putting it in a prime position to be blasted full force with the onrushing water. Knowing that Torchic cannot get back up on its own, especially after all the energy it expended with the Peck Barrage, May makes the prudent choice, recalling her starter and bringing Marill out in its place. Leaping onto the scene, the wannabe demon wastes no time in taking full advantage of its surroundings by gathering up the sudden jet of water and converting it into an Aquatail Morningstar roughly the size of a car. Naturally, this much water weight is far too heavy for the Aquamass Pokemon to hold aloft, though this is not an issue, as it knows just where to drop it, a malicious grin forming on its face as it brings the blow down right on top of Machop. In the face of such a deluge, even the superpower Pokemon cannot endure, and so it comes as a little surprise when a moment later Machop is declared unable to battle, giving May and Marill the first win of the match. Across from them, Brawly grins that this was some seriously tubular battling, though he's afraid he's not ready to pack it in just yet, as now it's time for his buddy Hariyama to come on out. Good to his word, Hariyama takes to the field a moment later and immediately goes on the attack, with a series of arm thrusts clearly meant to put Meryl on the back foot, like Machop managed to do with Torchic. However, unlike its avian counterpart, the water type is not so easily cowed, going blow for blow with its larger foe, as it repeatedly swings regular-sized aqua towels into its palms. Even with huge power, this is not enough to match the natural prowess of a fighting type, resulting in Meryl eventually being pushed back against its will, a fact which only serves to infuriate it. Seeing the fire in her first catch's eyes, and feeling the rumbling of another imminent geyser eruption, May orders Meryl to leap into the hole and ride the water back out, so they can do another one of those massive aqua tails. Nodding determinedly, the Aqua Mouse does as it's told, diving into the rumbling pit, only to re-emerge a moment later atop a spout of pressurized water. Then, with a maniacal laugh, it manifests the giant spiked ball and swings it at Hariyama, only for the fighting type to dodge. It is a simple motion, a single step backwards, but it is enough to put Hariyama out of harm's way, and without an impact to dissipate the momentum, Meryl suddenly finds itself being flung forward by the weight of its own attack. However, this is no concern for long, as seeing an opening, Hariyama and Broly do not hesitate to take it, with the large-fisted sumo stepping back in and slamming a single arm thrust into Meryl that encompasses its entire body, before sending it spiraling into the cave wall, where it lies unconscious in a crater of its own making. Recalling the water type with her thanks, May reluctantly returns Torchic to the field, having a bad feeling that her little friend is about to wind up a pancake when Hariyama swings at it with one of its meaty palms. Though it seems these fears are misplaced, as seeing May's desire to win, Torchic marshals its strength of will, causing a white light to engulf it as its body begins to grow and change shape. As a result, when Hariyama's arm thrust makes contact, it is not with the fire starter's face, but instead with an outstretched leg, as the newly evolved Combuskin blocks the blow with a kick. Letting out an excited cheer, May calls her starter the greatest, before whipping out her Pokédex to learn more about its new evolution. From this, she discovers that Combuskin now knows the fighting type move Double Kick, and so tells it to use that, with the battle quickly transforming into a fighting type clash of hands versus feet, as Double Kicks repeatedly collide with arm thrusts. However, this is not the only trick Combuskin has up its feathery sleeve, with it occasionally adding a super effective peck into the formation, which is the added benefit of doing massive damage, while also catching the pure fighting type off guard. This puts Broly and Hariyama on the back foot, both figuratively, and in the arm thrust Pokemon's case, literally, as Combuskin begins gaining ground, driving its foe back, until finally it is standing over a geyser. Then, in what can only be called beautiful irony, it begins to rumble, with Combuskin using this chance to deliver one last kick, which knocks the bulky fighter onto its butt, right atop the geyser opening. For a moment it seems as though the rotund ruffian's rear end will act like a cork, keeping the water in, though this is not to be, with the pressure simply mounting until finally it grows great enough to launch Hariyama into the air and slam it headfirst into the rocky ceiling, knocking it out and securing May the win. Now that the battle is over, May cannot contain herself, leaping onto the battlefield and hugging Combuskin, though Broly does have to tell her to watch out, as another geyser erupts not too far from where she's standing a moment later. All the same, this does little to dampen May's mood, with her thanking her starter for everything, before stepping forward to shake Broly's hand. Beaming broadly, the blue-haired gym leader praises May for her strategies, stating that not only does she really get her Pokemon on a deeply personal level, but she was also able to come up with some creative moves that he's never seen before, making for a truly righteous battle. Smiling as well, May thanks him for his kind words, then with a steady hand, places her own knuckle badge in the case. From here, the trip to Slateport and Moorville City is a fairly relaxed one, as due to not having to wait around for a contest, they make better time than in canon, skipping most of the events that would slow them down, so then what seems like no time at all, they are standing outside the Moorville gym, eager to get their battles underway. Maintaining his role as de facto leader of the group, Ash is the one to push the door open, though to his surprise, it gives way entirely, becoming a platform which he, May, Brock, and Max are all forced to stand on, as he begins descending down into a long tunnel. Recognizing this as some kind of roller coaster, everyone holds on tight, with May complaining this is no way for a gym leader to greet their guests, though when a Raikou suddenly appears from behind a door in front of them, she and Ash are equally quick to act, having their starters assist them with a combo of double kick and quick attack. This immediately causes Raikou to explode, revealing itself to be a robot, with both Pikachu and Combuskin being bathed in electricity, though due to there being two recipients and Combuskin acting as a means of grounding due to its other foot touching the ground, neither are too severely affected. As a result, when the gym leader Watson reveals himself and agrees to accept their challenges, Ash finds himself with a tougher battle than in canon, due to not having the electrical overcharge to one-shot Watson's Pokemon. Instead, he and Pikachu have their backs against the wall from the very start, as Magnemite resists all of the electric rodent's moves, forcing the boy to swap in Corphish. Thankfully, the ruffian Pokemon proves to be just what Ash needs here, as with a few well-placed crab hammers, it is able to down the floating magnet, though not without taking significant damage considering it is a water type in an electric gym. Next up for Watson is his Voltorb, Voltorb, with it managing to take out Corphish at last, causing Ash to bring Pikachu back in now that he can actually do some damage. This proves to be their saving grace, with the pair narrowly defeating the ball Pokemon, though to their dismay, their final opponent is Magneton, with the result being a predictable one, as with 3 battles under his belt and nowhere to inflict serious damage, Pikachu falls, clearing the path for Trico, or rather, Grovyle. As taking some inspiration from May and Combusken's battle against Brawly, the Grass Setter is able to find that wellspring of power within itself earlier than in canon, thus allowing it to evolve. With the newly acquired might of evolution on its side, Grovyle is more than capable of finishing what Pikachu started, downing Magneton and winning Ash the Dynamo badge, even if it was a much harder fought battle. Letting out a belly laugh, Watson calls this a stellar match, thanking Ash for giving him such a fun time, and beaming that he cannot wait to see what May has in store for him the next day. Nodding, May promises to do her best, though as she and her friends return to the Pokemon Center, there is a hint of nervousness to the way she asks Ash to help her train. Taking on the more mentoring role once again, Ash states that he'd be happy to help, with Pikachu sharing his trainer's sentiment when he is all healed up, and so it is that the rest of the day is devoted to sparring, with the only thing that stops the 2 young firebrands from training all through the night as well being the rumbling of their hungry tummies at dinner time. All the same, when Brock and Max reunite with May and Ash, they see a fire in the latter pair's eye, with May grinning that thanks to something Ash showed her, she really thinks she can win, while beside her, Ash nods his agreement, having every confidence in his protege. Subsequently, when May and her friends arrive at the gym the next morning, they have smiles on each of their faces, something Watson takes as a good sign when he steps out front to greet them. He does however have some slight bad news, that being that after the number the kids did on his Raikou robot yesterday, the gym itself is closed for repairs, though thankfully he has a backup location, so May won't have to wait for a match. Following the old man through the streets of Morville and into the outskirts, the group soon find themselves in a grassy field, with a small building in the distance which Watson explains is a power plant, before asking if this is an acceptable spot for their battle. Being eager to win her 3rd badge, May agrees without hesitation, and so on Watson's call tosses out her first Pokeball. And that's where we'll leave things. How will May fare in her gym battle with Watson? Can she overcome his powerful electric types? And what did Ash show her that suddenly made her so confident? Find out as the journey continues.